Welcome to the Architecting in Stilettos podcast. If you know us, you know us. And if you don't, hello. I'm Arlene Ajurian, joined by Katie Flores.
Hello.
Here at AMK Studio, an architecture and planning firm in sunny SoCal. We typically get invited by developers, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and luxury home builders who are struggling with the big three: maximizing site value and profits, obtaining approvals, and creating the ideal solution that will best achieve their goals. When the final design is as buildable as it is green, creative, and joyful, that's the win-win we're looking for. This podcast is about how we get there. We share stories, focus on real-world, behind-the-scenes challenges, and candid discussions, all while playing well with others. Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Architecting in Stilettos podcast. On today's episode, we explore a couple of topics that are so unsexy and so easily underestimated during the development process, particularly for infill projects and multifamily, mixed-use or planned unit developments. When you're developing a whole site and you want to jam as much as you can to get the ROI you're looking for on the number of units, project feasibility means components like sewer and trash systems can't be afterthoughts because they may become project killers. As always, our mission is to empower builders, developers, and adventurous clients to build their dreams and reach their goals. Please note that this episode was pre-recorded prior to the wildfires that we recently had here in Southern California. We will be launching several episodes that focus specifically on the topics of empowering those who have lost their homes. In the meantime, Katie and I hope you enjoy this episode.
So they're paying fees for not having the proper separation of the recyclables and the green waste. Like basically too much stuff is going to the landfill. And so now, these people are financially incentivized that they have to implement this.
You can potentially have bollards that come up and down for when a trash truck needs to access it or a fire truck.
Right. Exactly.
So the rest of the time, it's actually play space.
Right. You wouldn't think that your stormwater and your trash are related, but they are.
It could just be a factor of, hey, if I have a choice between putting a bathroom here or here,
right,
really comes down to that, or commercial kitchen here or here, it could make a difference in placing things.
Exactly.
It's like this is the good stuff.
The dirty stuff.
Unsexy, but project killer if you don't think about it
in
early
advance.
On.
Exactly. I'm Katie Flores with AMK Studio.
I am Arlene Ajurian, her business partner, and we are two trash-talking queens today.
Yes, the trash.
Trash and poop. That's really what we're going to be talking about.
Exactly.
All the good stuff. So what we didn't go to architecture school for, what we did not get into this profession for, was all this good talk about how is the trash going to work. So looking at bigger developments, right? We're definitely looking at not just a basic remodel, but one where you at least need a demo permit for a large portion of a building to come down. Mm-hmm. Or for sure, it is ground up, new construction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Either one home, multiple homes, row housing, non-residential, which is like hospitality. We're talking like churches, synagogues, restaurants, anything like that, retail, office. Any development that has to do with touching the ground and figuring out where is my sewer wastewater going to go? How is rainwater going to react, and where's that going to go?
How do I not? Yeah,
and
keep
how
that
do I
separate?
Yeah, how do I get trash, which is a whole other subject?
Yeah.
How does that whole work? Like, what do we mean by trash, Katie?
So, as most of us know, we all have 3 bins at home. You have 3 little trash cans that you have to cart out to the street every week for your trash that goes to the landfill, for your recyclables, as well as your green waste and, organics, essentially. So that whole philosophy is now applying across the board. So,
it starts from the kitchen.
It starts from the kitchen, but now if you have maybe at your work, you only have one dumpster, right? Like your office building might only have one dumpster because your building's was built 20 or 30 years ago. But now any new construction, so if you're doing a couple of duplexes, you're doing an apartment building, all of these types of structures, you now have to have 3 dumpsters to accommodate the separation of all the waste. So at a minimum, if you had a very small project, which, we have one that we are working on right now, it's 3 duplexes. So 6 very small units. It's for a nonprofit. What normally would have been just a single dumpster with a small trash enclosure has now tripled. So you have 3 small dumpsters.
Okay.
And that, like right there, I've got 3 times the space I need to accommodate for what would have been just a normal little dumpster.
Say I have an old set of, like, a site plan that is maybe got entitlements a year or 2 ago, and they just accounted for, I have 2 bins. I have one for trash and I have one for recycling. And they come to us and say, well, take it from here, girls.
We have to find a space for a 3rd bin, because we're to the point now where between the state and the regulations and the trash haulers, the different levels of bureaucracy are now getting penalized financially. So they're paying fees for not having the proper separation of the recyclables and the green waste. Like, basically too much stuff is going to the landfill. And so now, these people are financially incentivized that they have to implement this. So you're not going to be able to get around it. Unless, I don't know, unless you pay somebody off, maybe.
Could happen. I don't know any of those people.
I don't know any of those people either.
So let's say we're going from scratch.
Yeah.
Like, we're designing a whole site plan.
Right.
And we want to get as many units on there that it makes sense for the quality of the project, the lifestyle, the goals of the client.
Yeah.
Great. Where do we put the trash?
So ideally, we want to think about, the first thing is life safety, right? So trash is important, but it's not a life safety issue. So it's a quality of life issue.
For sure. I don't want it underneath my window if I'm in a multifamily environment.
What our first strategy is always we want to double it up with wherever our fire lane is. So if we have a part of the site that's going to have a wider drive aisle for a fire truck to get access through.
Right.
That is the perfect place to have your trash truck also go through, because they both have very similar clearance requirements.
Right.
For a big fire truck to get through is the same as for a trash truck to get his arm, get the dumpster, pick it up, and come back.
Yeah.
So, first that, if we can get it right on a drive aisle, that's great.
Great.
Again, I don't want it centrally located, like right where my beautiful green space is going to be.
However,
it's convenient,
It's convenient. And we've done things that are, maybe there's like a way to have
screen it.
You can screen it. You can potentially have bollards that come up and down for when a trash truck needs to access it, or a fire truck.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So the rest of the time, it's actually play space.
Right. Exactly.
It's a space where I can just, I have my kids, they're biking, they're tricycling,
it becomes a little, like a nice patio area, essentially, right? Where a fire truck could do his hammerhead or turnaround. So you'd only need it once in a blue moon for the fire truck, and then once a week, or, once every other week, depending on how often, how big your project is and how much pickup you have from your dumpsters. But,
so there's some creative ways to think about it.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about trash?
So, the weird part about trash is now it's related to water quality. You wouldn't think that your stormwater and your trash are related, but they are. So, due to other regulations, you don't
want any stinky water
running
anywhere.
You don't want to, when a storm event happens and, rain is coming down, you don't want that mucky water getting down into the gutter and into the right of way. So what basically all the trash enclosures now have to have a solid roof. Back in the day at where I live, we have a trellis. There's like a trellis kind of structure over it.
Yeah.
You can't get away with that anymore.
Right.
It's a solid roof, so that no rain can get into the dumpsters. And then basically you're diverting that rainwater away from the dumpsters.
Sure. And depending on how close it is to the property line, now we have fire rating issues.
Exactly.
And all these other things, right?
Yep. So now, so what normally would have been just like a little block wall and a dumpster hiding in the corner now has become a 1 hour rated fire retardant, amazing, triple bin extravaganza. So a trash enclosure is no longer just a trash enclosure. It becomes, it can be a piece, an expensive part of the project.
Yeah. So this is titillating, right? It's absolutely fascinating. Good stuff. So talk to me about poop.
Oh, Lord. So,
what is our first step? When
so-
we have like a project where somebody comes to us and says, hey, I've got this like 2-acre site. And here's where I want to build whatever, a banquet hall and a, church and a commercial kitchen.
Right.
What do we do first?
So the first thing, it's always worth it to have your contractor, you're going to have to do it eventually, is to have them camera the sewer line. So you want to locate any existing sewer lines that are on site. It's worth it to just have that done up early. So is your sewer in good condition? Is it the right size? Maybe you have on record that it's a 6-inch sewer line, but really it's not, or,
Right.
Who knows? So,
And if we do this wrong,
right.
what can happen?
So if you don't have the proper size sewer and you end up needing to cut into the street to do a new lateral or, replace pipes.
Bam, $200,000 gone right
easily.
there.
I mean, you would be so surprised. I mean, there's so many cities where you wouldn't know it by looking at the street, but there's a moratorium on that asphalt. And so anytime you try and do, even a slot in the street for a trench for your sewer lateral.
Oh, yeah.
That,
Minimum. Right.
Now it leads to, you have to repave the entire street, the whole entire width. So all the way across to the other side, as well as your entire property frontage. And then maybe even more. It might be plus 50 feet on either side, or you'd be amazed at some of the stuff that cities will implement, because it's like in their mind, they just repaved that street a couple of years ago. And so
Right.
now you're cutting into their fresh asphalt. So they are going to make you repair it to the fullest extent so it looks like it's brand new again.
Right.
So a simple sewer cut can be really expensive too.
So a good amount of investigating before a project in terms of understanding where there's laterals, which ones are usable, and then kind of relating that to an estimated load of the building to see if those laterals are even sufficient enough
Exactly.
to be able to hold or handle all the waste that's supposed to come into those lines.
Right.
Totally worth it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
We're talking to one of the first stages of a project.
Right. And because it is, I mean, and very often, again, with the nonprofits like you're talking about, you'll have a single family lot, right? There might have been a house on that property 50 years ago. So there's a very small sewer line that's there that's old. Now what you're trying to put on it is a banquet hall with a commercial kitchen for your religious institution or whatever. And if there's a way, maybe we have some of the sewer going that way, using that existing sewer lateral,
Right.
and then you have, the bathrooms going a different way. So you're able to split it up. So the kitchen will utilize the existing sewer lateral here, and the bathrooms can use an alternate lateral that's somewhere else. And then it's not the way you would normally design a building to have your sewer going in two different directions, but there's ways to look at it and be creative that we can hopefully reuse some stuff.
Well, depending on project budget,
Right.
depending on project timing, this can become one of the design factors, design considerations very early on in a project.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't want to say we design around sewer. We don't.
No.
But it could just be a factor of, hey, if I have a choice between putting a bathroom here or here,
Right.
really comes down to that, or commercial kitchen here or here, it could make a difference in placing things.
Exactly.
So that it's just a lot more simple for
It
this
to
project to
flow
together.
one direction. Exactly.
Solves a lot of headaches.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, so when it comes to then stormwater, like I think you touched on this. There are some jurisdictions where they have very poorly designed stormwater systems,
Right. Or
drainage
none at all,
systems.
right? It's just surface drainage.
We don't
Yeah.
exactly, and sometimes we don't even have surface drainage. Like we have had extremely flat sites.
Yep.
So what do we do?
So, I mean, the hard balance that we're doing now is, we want to have as much permeable area on site as possible.
Right.
So, a couple of things we've gotten creative with is using permeable asphalt or permeable pavers in the parking area. So that way what would normally be, a rather expansive piece of asphalt that is not permeable, for most of the year, if there's a rain event, that few inches, there's going to be a cross section, right. Of sand and base
Yep.
under that permeable asphalt that can kind of, I don't want to say it stores water, but it
Slows down.
It accounts for a lot of the water to just slow down. So it's not all gushing into the gutter. And so that's huge, right? Like that one factor, if you just did permeable asphalt in your parking lot, could save you from another measure somewhere else on site potentially.
Absolutely. And so if we did this wrong, I'm going to say, well, like for example, I have grandma. Grandma's with me and she's like trying to walk and there's a puddle of water like in the middle of this giant parking lot that just got asphalted. Done incorrectly on a rainy day.
It's rough.
Grandma might slip.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Right? That's where this becomes really relevant.
Yeah.
And then done correctly, we have absolutely no puddles happening on a parking lot.
Exactly.
Water has time to percolate into the concrete or the asphalt base and then do its thing, which is to then slowly...
Exactly. So then the next day or the day after the rain event, that's when you'll start seeing water kind of seeping through your drainage system out into the gutter. And so it's kind of a trip because, neighbors will be like, hey, why is there all this water coming out of your site? And it's actually a good thing. It meant that the system was working, right? It slowed all that water down so that you didn't have a flood in the street.
Right.
And then a day or two later, once that street water has moved on and made its way, out into the ether, now your water's coming out. So it actually does make sense. Like from a holistic, good neighbor standpoint, it actually is great that if, however we can slow down the stormwater is great.
Come on, why can't they just drain onto my neighbor's lot?
I know, right? Why would you think that would be? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, and then the other
totally
thing is
illegal,
but
at the same time,
exactly.
usually,
you never know.
right?
I mean, because a lot of times, stuff got approved back in the day, and you're at some point in somebody's history, you were allowed to drain onto your neighbor's site.
Yeah, not anymore. So now we have to contain it and make sure that it
slow
goes
it down
where it needs to go.
Exactly.
Great.
And so the other way, landscaping, right? Your landscaping is obviously that's a great permeable area. So if there's ways that you can get a decorative planter, with little low walls, that planter could get filled or, there's ways to do it.
In that. Yeah. I love when things overlap. So we have a design, we have a challenge, challenge of where water goes, coupled with an opportunity to produce landscaped areas that actually need more water.
Exactly. And it's a seat. Now you've got like a little low wall that could be a seat in your backyard or, in your front yard or wherever. And so now you've got a gathering area that you can kind of create around this planter. And it's you're getting
win-win.
You're getting multiple bangs for your buck. Yeah, exactly.
The beautiful like areas that are created that actually are memorable on a site. That have lush landscaping or some kind of landscaping. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes a project come alive.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. When it comes to electrical, there's a couple things to consider, and these are also big ticket items early on.
Yeah, definitely.
So when it comes to a larger site, and again, this could also mean a large luxury home.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? So 400 amps is the standard now?
Absolutely. Back in the day, if you have a house, that was built in the 50s, right? Any normal like mid-century home, you probably have a 120 amp panel if you haven't done work on that house, recently. So at that point, the standard kind of became 200 amps was the norm for a very long time. But now with, electrical vehicles and solar and battery storage,
all the
number of circuits you need and the loads, coming and going, a 400 amp panel is very standard now. Yeah.
Right. And so when we get to larger developments, again, like a 2-acre site where we've got a lot going on, we may need, 1600. We might need 2000 or more.
Exactly. Right.
Problem is nowadays there's a lead time on transformers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The boxes, the switch gears and the transformers are still, I think it's just a holdover from COVID. There's some weird dichotomy of the universe happening,
right? And so,
where the equipment is not available.
Sure, and we're seeing developers rejigger all the electrical, basically the loading and how the transformers are loaded, each one of them, or what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that there's maybe multiple 800
right. Yeah, you might have a couple smaller ones instead of one huge one. Exactly.
Right. So I think that's a major one for early planning on electrical.
Yeah. The sooner you can get a conversation with, Edison or your electric company, the better, because it really is. I mean, and that's the hard part is that, a lot of times the Edison planners and designers, they don't want to take the time to look at your project until they know it's real, right? So if you're still in early entitlement, but you can't wait too long. It's a chicken and egg, exactly, because it's like, I know I need a space for my transformer, but you don't know how big, right? Because it really is a delicate balance of you got to start those conversations with Edison early.
As soon as you got a basic site plan in, start the conversation, get on there, and get that clock rolling. Okay.
And you can use, again, what we've been doing lately is we'll use load calcs from a similar project. So we've got townhomes that we did a couple years ago. I'll use those same electrical load calcs and I'll just say, okay, just use the same one because it's roughly the same size unit. It's roughly the same idea.
Right.
Just assume this, for all our electrical loads, and multiply it times, 8 units or 26 units or however many townhomes we're doing. And then that way the Edison planner knows that you're not just making something up out of nowhere. It does have a legit, panel schedule, but you might not have gotten all the way through to construction documents with your electrical engineer yet.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So then one last small one.
Yeah.
For today's episode, which is, I'm going to say, it's like this is the good stuff,
the dirty stuff,
unsexy, but project killer if you don't think about it
in
early
advance.
on.
Exactly.
So when it comes to easements, most people know to check for easements
right.
when we start a project. So and when it comes to something relatively easy, which is adding an ADU,
right?
So adding an ADU, sometimes people do this right at the edge of a property.
Right.
Sometimes they do it right at the edge of a property over a garage.
Mm-hmm.
And we have power lines that are frequently either a power pole right in the corner, or we have a power line that
running along the back or something. Yeah.
Right there, like running right over where the perceived ADU is going to go.
Right. What's
the problem?
So, the problem is you can't build under a power line. Really, or over it, right? So if there's if you have anything going on your side yard or your rear yard, you just need to make sure you have it plotted out. So a lot of times, there might be an old, your existing garage, right? If you have a detached garage, that's very normal for LA, Orange County, right? We have plenty of areas where you've got an alley or even just those recessed, back garages that are right on the back and side property line. And so
gotta offset.
You have to offset. So if you want to build over that, you're going to have basically a 5-foot setback, which it looks kind of quirky, but it's a loophole and it's a way to get around it. Other times it's just not worth it, right?
It could be an opportunity to take the whatever's going to go on top of a garage.
Right.
Let's say it's a 20 by 20 garage, just to make it simple.
Yeah.
You just take that second floor and offset it, and maybe what happens is you might have a patio that's
underneath.
That's
exactly.
Then it created just in fact by offsetting it, you get that little
covered area. Yeah, exactly.
Payback, a little bonus.
Right.
That's all I've got today.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I don't want to say it frustrates me, but it's like we don't think about is that the regulations just have gotten more strict. They have, right? We've moved into an era of, energy efficiency. Everyone is more
asking for more, and everything is harder to do.
And we're more sensitive to it, right? We all have our heart in the right place where we want to do the right thing for the environment. We want to, we want our buildings to be energy efficient and, low carbon. We don't want to be taking advantage and ripping Mother Earth.
Yeah.
So I think that's we all have our heart in the right place. It's just a matter of balancing, one thing we were just talking about with the landscape architect, right? Is, we're limited on our water consumption. We're not allowed to have, you're not allowed to have big sprinklers and the olden days where you could just have sprinklers running all day and all night.
What?
So we're balancing, as low water consumption as we can for the landscape, but at the same time, we need more permeable area, right? And so it's
a balancing act. It's
Exactly.
a balancing act between what is green and natural, what is fake,
right?
what is paved, what is not paved. Again, where's the water coming from? How is it getting used? How much is getting used? It's this thing now that is
it's
a little
delicate
bit more,
balance. Yeah.
A little bit more involved when it comes to creating a beautiful, lush backyard that now has to get really coordinated very closely between architecture, landscaping, civil engineer,
Yep.
and all the irrigation.
Right. And so even on what you think might be a simple single family home, you need all of these disciplines. You really need all these consultants on board. It's not, gone are the days of you could
just do this
let's
last
just
minute.
do this,
Slap that sheet in the back of the
we can just do
plans.
this little thing. Yeah, or you just have a drafter do it. I mean, really, like I think that's the sad part too, right? Is that, people want to add ADUs, people want to do this. And I feel for them, right? It's like, you don't want to be paying, 5-6 figures for consultant fees, just for a little ADU. It feels out of scale, but the reality is, that you need these technical documents. We need a WQMP report. We need, an erosion control plan. We need all of these pieces now to get even a single family home, approved. And
like you said,
and
the aim, the focus, the goal is a good one.
Exactly.
Some things are a little bit over the top,
right?
Which makes it harder to build in California.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
Yeah. But in the end, it'll make for a more sustainable, a better project. I mean, it really will. You're going to have lower water bills because your sprinklers are not going to be doing wacky things. You're going to have lower power bills because you're going to have a battery that you can use to offset peak electrical, in right at 5:00 when everyone else's air conditioning is kicking on, you're going to be working off your battery.
Right.
That kind of thing. So it will help in the long run. But the ROI might be a longer lead time before you get that return on investment.
And certainly we can't just live the same way that
we've always
lived.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
as much as I want to. But
right.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It's going to take some growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to say thank you for joining us.
Yes.
If there are any other unsexy items that anybody has any ideas on that we want to explore, let us know.
Please.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye.
This marks the end of the second installment of our Architecting in Stilettos podcast. Thanks for listening.